You're being dismissed. You feel like you're not being heard. And you feel like, worst of all, you're screaming into the void your truth, and it's not being reciprocated. They refuse to understand you. And if you're wondering who we're talking about the possibility you might be in relationship with someone who's narcissistic. Now, I'm not saying they have the disorder of being a full-on narcissist. What I'm saying is maybe there's some qualities you don't prefer in relationship with this person. So in this video, I'm going to show you the best way to shift this energy. Let's get it. One of the narcissistic traits that is probably the worst one is that you'll say something to them about their behavior towards you, and then somehow it always gets twisted around that it's your fault when it's not even your fault. And maybe, yeah, maybe you did do something that was minor, but nowhere compared to their reaction, right? But somehow because of you did this, they acted this way, so it's your fault. Nope, because you did that, it's your fault. Well, it's not your fault. What's happening here is they're actually refusing to validate your feelings. And they turn it on you right away, so they don't have to actually emotionally give you that care. And that way they make you feel like it's your fault. So that way, slowly over time, it builds on and you start to feel like you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you suck at communicating, that you're not good at relationships. That happened to me. One of my exes was a covert narcissist, and that's what I've learned through my healing journey. And they'll do that. And a lot of times they'll also start off being amazing and super hypersexual and love bombing you. And then all of a sudden, 3 months into the relationship, after a little bit after, they've already started slowly breaking you down and apart. They'll hook onto you. And you only see that beautiful side you saw of them rarely. In fact, at this point, you're probably getting breadcrumbs and it feels like the whole loaf. Because once they start noticing you're pulling on that hook and you're realizing this relationship might not be good, or you're watching a video like this and maybe they're screaming from across the room, why are you watching stupid videos like that? Because you're pulling away. And they'll give you that breadcrumb and they'll show up like they kind of did in the beginning of the relationship, so that way you can stay back and latched in. They have all sorts of methods that are manipulative over time, and it starts to build this like Stockholm syndrome kind of situation where you actually start to buy into their things. This ex that I had started claiming that I'm OCD, ADHD, all these like psychological things without her doctorate. Like, where's your PhD to be claiming psychological problems with me? Right? And I got a psychologist. I'm not truly ADHD. I have some signs or ADD, like, typical normal human stuff, but not really. And I don't have OCD. So it's like, yeah, I'm analytical and I like things to be, I have certain systems for things that I've put in place, that I organize things in a certain way because this is the way I feel is most efficient. Doesn't mean I'm stuck to it in a certain, I started buying into all sorts of stuff. They try to make you, they'll break you down psychologically. They'll make you believe things that you're not. And it starts off small. One of the best ways to combat all of this is to express your needs and set boundaries. It's really the only way you can deal with someone who has narcissistic traits, is you have to let them know, hey, I feel this way when you do this. I feel dismissed. I feel unheard. I feel like every time I come to talk to you about your behavior within our relationship, you're always finding somehow to make it my fault that I made you react this way, and it's my fault, and I need to change. I need to be the one that only changes, not you. Sometimes you got to break that down with them and let them know. And if you can't start validating my feelings, which I need you to do, is this something that you're capable of doing? Because it's not healthy for me. Right now, that hook is pulling away. So letting them know, hey, I feel dismissed. I feel unheard. I feel like you don't validate my feelings. Instead, you just want to attack me and create me as the problem. You're not taking responsibility. And the thing about narcissistic people is like they build these like shiny ego personas, right? They'll bring up things from the past that they did like 10 years ago, and somehow their glory days are every day, right? And it's like these irrelevant things to the now. So they're just trying to make them seem like they're this great, amazing person to you, so that way you can stay latched in. And they like to show up as they're better than you and belittle you, that you'll never live up to their, who they are, who they were. So the thing about that thing is when you expose a narcissist to like the toxicity that they're doing is, number one is like narcissistic people usually have like a worthiness wound, their own ego. That's why they create this persona and now they have to look at it. And if you expose them to that, they'll deny it, they'll reject it. Obviously, they'll make you the problem. But if they start doing that, they're not validating you. And it's probably time for you to start finding a way to leave. Because if they have to look at their shadow, right? And narcissistic people aren't necessarily bad people. Yeah, they're manipulative and they do bad things. It's coming from a place of pain, their own traumas. They act certain ways because that's the only way they know how to get their needs met, is by manipulating others. And if they have to be exposed to that and they don't want to take responsibility, they have to look through their shadow and see all the times they hurt someone. And nobody wants to do that, except for people on a self-help journey to better themselves, better their relationships with people and their love lives and every part of their life. That's probably why you're watching a video like this. All right? And sometimes maybe you'll even think that you're the narcissist. You got to set these boundaries. You got to let them know, hey, I feel this way when you do this. And then you got to let them know, hey, can you stop this behavior? So you have to express two things. Is one, how you feel, and then the call to action. This is what I would like to happen moving forward. Okay, and they either agree to it or they don't. And then if they don't, relationship is over. If they agree to it, great. Now you're kind of in a trial period. And my rule is I give people two more opportunities to shift. Because sometimes it is a habit for people. Sometimes it's not exactly on purpose or intentional. However, if you don't nip it in the bud right away, they're testing you. And that's how you'll know you're dating a narcissist, because they'll do it again and just see if you react to it or reinforce it. So you have to reinforce 2 times. This is the opportunities. This is my rule. You can do it just once and then peace out. I do it twice. Just because, I'm very caring. And I want to see people expand and grow. And if it really is an accident or not. So reinforce it. Hey, we talked about this. It's happening again. Do you remember that conversation? And if they're a real narcissist, maybe they'll gaslight it or they'll make you believe you never even had the conversation. Right? Or that conversation didn't go that way. Or they'll flip it on you and be like, no, I was talking to you about your behavior. Like, disgusting. Oh my gosh. I had to literally deal with this. Reinforce it. And if it sounds delusional after the first reinforcement, it's probably time to peace out. Like, hey, this is great. Thank you so much for this experience. How I learned how to set boundaries. Now I know I deserve more. This has been great. Thank you so much. I wish you the best, right? Because you're unconditionally loving. Your boundaries, though, are very conditional. Let's say it was a fluke and they're like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I agree. Like, you're right. We did talk about this. It was an actual accident. It was just a habit, right? Well, now the second reinforcement after it happens again, it's like, hey, we did talk about this. You sure you can stop this? Are you sure this is a part of you can shift and change? Because it seems like it's a habit. Maybe it's ingrained in your personality of just who you are, and that's okay. That's okay. We might just have to go our separate ways. Our relationship, it seems like it's served its purpose. Give them that last reinforcement, then it happens one more time. Hey, it's time to let go. This is now your opportunity to leave, and you have to take that step. You can't keep feeding into this. You can't keep giving them that positive reinforcement that you're going to stay. Sometimes the biggest gift you can give someone is to show them the actions of their consequences. And that means you physically leaving them. No matter how much you wanted it to work, no matter how much they silver tongue you back into trying to stay, you have to leave. You've already done your best to the best of your ability and reinforced and reinforced. They're not going to change. Sometimes people change after they lose what they had. So be that great opportunity for people. And guess what? If you don't give the opportunity for people to grow with you and expand in this way and set boundaries, you're denying them their opportunity of growth or a possible healthy relationship if you choose to avoid it. So conflict is a good thing. Intention, to be intentional while in tension. Sometimes setting boundaries, you get these gut-wrenching feelings. And I've been there, and it's scary, and it's like you're almost afraid of the outcome, which is probably why it's hard to set boundaries. And maybe because like you feel like you'll stutter your words or something. Like if you're dealing with a narcissist, they'll find a way to twist it. So it's a very simple process. I feel this way when you do this. This is what I want to happen. Right? We're on good terms here. And if they switch it around on you, hey, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're making it my fault when I'm bringing up to you your behavior. If you're at this like wall here and you've realized this now, time to let go. They're not going to shift. They don't want to shift. They want to keep latching onto you and draining the crap out of you. Because you'll never be enough for a narcissist. They'll never make you feel like you're enough. In fact, they'll start telling you that you're not enough. That happened to me. And then you do more. So start recognizing the relationship that you're in and start taking healthy steps towards a healthier relationship. Because believe me, what's on the other side of this relationship is one, you've grown, you know how to set boundaries, you know what you deserve, and it's a much healthier relationship. So don't be afraid to leave, no matter what your situation is. You're not too old, you haven't been in the relationship for too long. Don't let these blocks and fears stop you from a possible, fulfilling, loving relationship on the other end, or just a happy life. You may be single for a year, you may have to heal. You know what's on during that year or more even? At least you don't have someone bothering the crap out of you. At least you don't have someone bothering the crap out of you while you're single, making you feel bad, making you feel like you're not enough. Okay? So empower yourself today. Set boundaries, reinforce them, and make that decision to let go and leave. And just surrender to the flow of this relationship has served its purpose. So have a alchemizing day, and namaste.